We are going to talk about how disruptive and game-changing AI can be. We've heard a lot about it, of course, already. It is the subject of our next session with a particular focus, though, on fintech. So please, can I welcome my panelists to come up and join me here on the stage. I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves because there are quite a few of you. And as you make your way to the stage, we're going to focus on what AI means for fintech and investing. So please take a seat. And I'm going to sit down here next to you, madam, if that's okay. Thank you. Here, hopefully you can still see me, but there's no space for me on stage, so please do grab a seat. And I'm going to ask you to introduce yourselves at the start of your first answer, if I can, please. And Yashish, I want to start with you and just set this out for us. Is AI a threat or an opportunity in the fintech space?
AI is, depending on who you're asking.
Who are you, where are you from, first of all, please?
Sorry, was that? I run a company called Policy Bazaar and Paisa Bazaar in India and in the UAE. And that question truly depends upon whom you're asking. I think AI is largely going to be a commodity in the future. Everybody will have it and everybody will have equal access to it. People who will take advantage of it would be the ones who either have consumer access or are the government. I doubt if any other party will be able to get significant access to AI technologies and be able to leverage them.
Yeah, and it's going to be about equity, isn't it, and access to it. And Amira, let me bring you in at this point as well. There's, the same question to you here about, in your world, is it an opportunity or threat? And so much money, so much investment is going into the AI space right now. I wonder when we see the returns, because there are big questions, aren't there, about does this investment pay off?
Absolutely, it pays off. Actually, if we didn't align ourselves to the AI and what's happening, we will be left out behind. So everyone needs to think about it and as an opportunity. It's not a threat at all, and adapt with it and start to adapt all their teams to use it actually in all the stages of their work. So if they are not adaptable to it, they will be left behind. So yes, it's a huge opportunity.
And Amira, I should say, you're co-founder, CEO of Time Guardian, aren't you? Yes, a reminder, everyone introduce yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Manu, let me bring you in here as well and talk about this. The idea that a correction is due. All of the excitement, all of the money going into AI right now. Is there a danger that all of this is overhyped? Reminder, tell us who you are, please.
What is overhyped, sorry?
All the money that is going into AI right now.
Okay. First of all, hi guys, my name is Manu. I work for this group called as G42. I'm the CEO for G42 India. We are building data centers, supercomputers, AI models, etc. So we would be foolish if we were making all these investments, if we thought this was all hyped, because we're literally pouring in billions, if not more, into building AI infrastructure, starting with data centers, then large compute clusters, cloud, and AI solutions. I believe AI will change the way that each one of us consume or touch or feel anything around us, including doors, windows, chairs, in the next 5 to 10 years. And if we're not AI ready, we will lose out big time. So again, to add back to your answer to your earlier question, is it a big threat or not? People who do not adapt, people who do not use it, it will be a huge threat. People who do end up using it or end up adapting to it, it will be a huge boon for them.
Just to pick up on the idea that you're putting all this money in, a lot of people will question when they see the return. What do you tell investors about, yes, we need your cash now, you will get a return when?
For a lot of these projects, the return has already started coming in, like the kind of money that we're investing in space tech, amount of money that we're investing in data centers, building large compute clusters, all of that is already giving enough returns. I think the only question that you may have is that with respect to AI models, when you start building applications on top of these AI models, which can help benefit, for example, we're talking about fintech. We were talking to a large bank in India, where the bank said, the way that we make money is by giving out loans to normal consumers. And we need an AI model which acts and behaves like a human being and can remind in case somebody is missing out on EMI payment. Yep. And by doing this, having these agentic models, we can not only make it more efficient, but also save significantly cost. If we are able to do this with this particular bank, which is one of the largest banks in India, the bank will benefit and hopefully will also pay some money to us. So yes, we will start making money out of it.
Yeah, let me bring you in at this point as well. And what does AI mean for what you do? Just explain a little about what you do.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jain, and I'm the CEO of Etihad Payments. So like in India, there is a National Payments Corporation of India. Here in the Emirates, we now have Al Etihad Payments, so the national payments company. Hence, my view is a little bit skewed towards payments, obviously. And payments, while we try to make payments seamless, easy, convenient, and fast, to kind of keep them secure, machine learning and now AI has been instrumental in managing kind of fraud and risk management across payments, and that's on top of all the other things you can do with payments data. So of course payments are about data, and with AI tools you can do a lot of stuff.
Neeraj, are you worried about what AI does for what you do for the business? It is a tool, but it is potentially game-changing in the way that you structure what you do as a business. How do you adapt to the opportunity while sort of mitigating some of the risks?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Neeraj Makin. I head the group strategy at Emirates NBD, which is one of the largest banks in the Middle East region. When to your question, I think in the financial services industry, we are looking at AI as an opportunity, how to serve our customers better, how to run the banking operations and financial services in a more efficient manner. You know, some of the banks or some of the financial institutions are already on the cutting edge of the curve of adopting AI, using machine learning and Gen AI to cut the process times as to when a customer starts a journey and when a loan is disbursed to him or a financial transaction is completed. We've been using, as a bank ourselves, we've been adopting most of these things. I myself run an advanced analytics team, which is more than 70 people strong. And we've invested quite a lot over the last 3 years in order to start using analytics. And of course, now, as Gen AI is taking more precedence, or at least more use cases are coming, we've at least been trying to pilot use cases. But I would obviously like to point out also that this is not very easy to do and also slightly expensive. So one of the key things what we've been looking at, that while we are piloting, we're looking at the cost of using something. Simple example, today Microsoft is saying come and use my Office Copilot and all and everything, or ChatGPT saying come and use. And the use cases might come out from a small experimentation perspective, might come out very nice and very good. But when you come down to implement it on a large scale, the cost of doing that bit, or what Microsoft is going to charge me, or what ChatGPT or anybody else is going to charge me, you have to look at it at the full cost-benefit analysis. But yes, banks or financial services industries are looking at it as an opportunity, and wherever the platforms allow them to incorporate or onboard, they are trying to.
You talk about the areas that you're piloting. Just give me a sense of what are your options? What's on the cards right now?
Sorry?
The areas that you're piloting to use some of that tech.
Okay, so something like, when you call the call center, all right? Right now, sometimes you have to continue waiting. The customers have to continue waiting because we don't have enough service, personnel who can continue taking the call. With a Gen AI-based approach, what we can do is we can have these AI-based agents which can take the call and solve the problem for the customers in a much more faster and efficient manner. But for that to happen, what also I need to do that at the back end, my all processes should be digitized so that that AI-based agent can solve the problem, complete the transaction, answer a question, find out a missing payment and all. So these are some of the areas. The other areas where we're using hardcore machine learning analytics is on treasury payment side. We're looking at what is the next best product to sell to the client. We are looking at fraud. We are also looking at, so these are the various use cases which are currently we're trying to use or we are actually using. One of the other big ones which we've been doing is to use these machine learning based models to actually do the credit underwriting or the credit rating for customers and clients. Now, the challenge we face in some of those things is on the regulatory side, right? Because the regulators sometimes come and say, that, look, we don't understand what this black box that called AI is doing. So you have to explain to us what is happening, what. So I think that is a learning journey we are going through the regulators. And it's not the case here in UAE. It's the case across various other markets where central banks or regulators are also trying to adapt to it, but also being very, I would say, circumspect about what comes out of it and all. So, but these are some of the use cases where we're using both AI and analytics to drive home.
Yeah, and that educational point is a really interesting one, isn't it, on so many different levels. Yashish, your business is in insurance, lending products, things like that, isn't it? What does it mean for you? Is it just about taking out cost from some of the back-end operations, or is this a real game changer for you in how you could deliver what you do?
Right now, it's a combination of cost and risk assessment. However, the point I was trying to make was, within a 3-year time frame, the expectation is everybody should have access to more than enough AI and tech, and thus I see it as something which is just going to be available. And yes, if you're a government, you want your own model. If you're a large consumer access company, you want your own model. So if you're an Apple, if you're a Meta, or if you're a Google, you want your own model. And if you're a large government, you want your own model. But besides that, for most businesses, it's just going to be an on-tap commodity available. Again, the costs will come down with competition. And we are seeing significant benefits at this point, as I mentioned, on things like quality assessment, things like risk assessment, things like if you're speaking to somebody and you want to document what happened in that conversation, so the summarization, where people had to earlier take notes. So at this point, it's mostly cost reduction. It hasn't got to a stage where complex product sales are happening through AI yet. But I don't anticipate that will take very long. As I said, in the 3-year time frame, we anticipate a lot of that happening.
And Manu, Yashish says everybody will have access to this tech. Is that true, or is it just the organizations with the deepest pockets?
I guess everybody will have access to it. The question is it the most suitable for you or not? So we spoke about some of the large US-based large corporates and companies, which are, of course, spending billions of dollars in building these great models. But for a lot of us across the world, especially in Global South, we may not need all these large models necessarily. For our own individual companies, for our own usage, we may actually be perfectly fine with small language models, or models which are more specific to our use case. And that is at least one of the things that we are trying to do. So we are trying to build local language models in Arabic, local language models in Hindi, which is the largest spoken language in India, in various African countries, where we take data, the local language data, build a specific model that companies can use over there, companies like Policy Bazaar or any of the banks. They can actually deploy it on-prem, on their own data centers, in their own premises, build use cases on top of it, and then make it available to consumers. So my sense is, like, there would be different people. Some people who will naturally gravitate towards these really large models from the West. Others will probably use some of these smaller open source models, which are more specific for the local nuances, local culture, local language.
Yeah. Jain, what does it mean for you in how you run your operations? Because that point about it just being in the hands of those with the deepest pockets or the biggest organizations, how do we democratize it a little bit and make sure everyone has access to it in the way that you're doing with payment?
Well, when I focus on our area and where the AI is used, I'm abstracting from, what the banks can do and monetize payments data, trying to offer, customer services and products based on analyzing some patterns. In our case, and that's probably what's keeping me up at night a little bit, it's almost like a battle of AIs. Because for me, it's all about security as a central platform. And of course, AI is also being used in the hands of the bad guys. And they generally have quite deep pockets if they are successful. So with the increase of deep fakes and people being scammed, that's something which is very difficult for an infrastructure like us to determine which payments is actually genuine versus which is fraudulent. Because when it comes to us, all of that is properly authorized, authenticated payment. So we are applying AI models to try to identify which payments look suspicious, which look fraudulent. So it's kind of a race of AIs almost. And we'll see. Like, of course, the fraud guys are always a little bit ahead, I feel.
And who has the upper hand in that? That's what I want to ask. Again, it's about, do they have more resource to put into more convincing AI to differ your systems and those of others? How do you keep up?
That's exactly it. So what helps a little bit is, especially in the national payments infrastructure space, collaboration is something which is quite important. So we have a very strong relationship with the National Payment Corporation of India, I mentioned. So we are kind of sharing some of our models. We are even sharing our tools. So I think you need to partner on a global scale with people like you to be able to at least keep up with what's happening. You cannot do it alone.
Amira, let me bring you back in here. Yours is a really interesting business. Just explain the role that AI plays in it, given what you do, because it's quite specific, isn't it?
Absolutely. For me, actually, it's a need. It's not a matter of something which I can use it or not. It's a need because during my full onboarding journey, I'm using the AI to support into the full onboarding journey.
The minister is going to be a bit late, so I need you to fill up a bit.
To scatter your documentation and define
about
what
10
type
minutes.
of documentation
Is
I'm
that
using
fine?
the AI in order to store it. So the full app actually is using the AI to store and secure the data and ensure it's decentralized. It's all fully through the AI. So it's, for me, it's not something I can sacrifice. It's cost reduction. And
if you can fill 8 minutes, will be great.
Any startup,
Thanks.
I feel. So this is how I'm using it.
And when you start that journey with the AI, what is your overwhelming feeling? Is it that you have to be involved? If you miss the train now and you didn't get on at the beginning, it is a problem? Everybody else is doing it, so you need to? Or is it genuinely game-changing for what you're able to offer as an organization?
From my experience, actually, I've been into the banking field 25 years, and then I have my startup, and this is the second, I exited, and this is the second one.
Yep.
So it's all about digitalization. If we are not aligned to what's happening immediately and use it the best way, we will be left behind. So when I've been doing the spends and usage, it was all about SaaS models. Then we start using the machine learning in order to get much more better idea what we should go next, how we can do gamifications to increase the spends and usage. Then later on, in the marketplace which I have, it's based into AI as well in order to predict what's the customer requirement in order to target the right customers for us. Then now, when we have the time guarding, which is for data security and transmitting the data for the next generation, when I'm getting your data, I need to put it into proper way and organize it in a proper way. So it's all through the AI. So for me, actually, it's not a matter that everyone would like, this is happening now and I need to be part of the journey. No, it is the need of the day and we need to align to it and I need to be part of it.
And people are committing some very significant parts of their lives to what you do, aren't they? They're putting it in your hands. Is there trust that the public now on board, are they aware of what it can offer? And are they trustful enough of the technology at this stage?
They must trust it absolutely 100% because they need to mitigate any risk. Once you are doing any solution and you are start applying it, you need to put all the risks in front of you and mitigate it accordingly. So let's say if you are using it for your customer service and you are replacing your agents with AI. So what is the risk in this? What is the customer impact with this? So we built an NPS score to ensure that the customer rating is going higher and higher. So every step which you are using in it, the AI, at the beginning, you will learn through the journey. It's not a matter that you will implement something and suddenly it will be perfectly fine. No, it's a journey which you go through it and you need to learn whether it's positive and negative and improve yourself accordingly.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. Yashish, let me bring you in here too, because you talked there about those pilots, and I would imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, some of those pilots may not work. You may decide they're not worth it, they are not delivering what you need them to do. And I wonder, therefore, where the genuine innovation comes in here, where we say, this is a bit of kit, but it is a tool, and it is something we can use to create something else, rather than the sort of dominance coming from those models that are already existing, and we're just sort of jumping on the back of them. Where does the innovation come from?
See, innovation comes from when you shorten a process. Innovation will come through when you are able to do something in a much faster period of time. Or let's say, in olden days, if you used to look at it, opening an account could take you 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Today, you can open an account on a mobile phone in a matter of minutes or second. But to kind of give a loan out, that still does take time, right? The other thing on innovation could come through that let's say I'm trying to find out where my payment is stuck, right? So real-time payment tracking, real-time solution of what is happening. I think that's where the innovation pieces, fit in. And innovation will come in not only from the AI part of thing, but from pure, reimagining the journeys and creating those processes within the organization to bring those stuff, forward on. And look, in banks right now, if you look at it, our technology investments have been continuously growing. Just to kind of give you an idea, and this is a number which is disclosed in our annual reports, back in 2018-19 when we started or 2017-18 when we started our IT transformation, we spent about $1 billion dirhams to transform our full core banking systems and all. And that was a 3.5 year program. We went through that and we thought that we will come back to what we're going to spend. But as we move forward, our spend on technology has continued to grow. And if I look at it over the last couple of years, we've been spending about 800-900 million dirhams on an annual basis, which basically what we were thinking of spending for 3 years is what we are spending annually right now, in order just to make sure that we can keep track with, there was this narrative also that fintechs will come and eat the big banks eat the big banks breakfast and lunch and all. But that's no longer what's going to happen. In fact, it's more becoming that banks have learned the tricks and trades from the fintechs, and the fintechs also need banks to kind of continue to survive and do more, because standalone, the fintechs are also not able to survive, and the banks also need the fintechs in order to reach the customers at a much better pace, or give more innovative products which are better suited to individual customers. Yeah. So it's more of a collaboration, and innovation will come through the partnership between these two.
Yeah, and is that true? Is that you need each other?
Well, I'm not a fintech, I'm a national infrastructure, but you have seen it, I think, globally, that there is an emergence of common interests. You saw a spurge of paytech. I am more in the paytech space. Yeah. And then consolidation happened and kind of partnerships emerged. So I think the players are finding a way how to partner and then compete kind of on the edge.
Yeah. And if I may just add on why partnerships are also needed, right? Because financial services is a business which is highly regulated. And what is happening, and if you see on the fintech space, that as fintechs grow bigger, regulation catches up with them. You have numerous examples around the world, whether be it Ant Financial in China or whatever, or in our home market, Vio has been a very successful neobank and all. But as they have grown, the central bank has been looking more and more, no, you should not be doing it like this, you should be. And that's where, things need to kind of come in, and that's where the partnership model looks to be more working. Standalone, they cannot survive.
But they still want to eat their lunch.
That's a given. And Yashish, I mean, that's the point, isn't it? Regulation often, comes second, because, this is moving so quickly. The regulators do struggle to keep up. And I wonder, therefore, how we stay on the right side of this, that this transformative technology is able to deliver so much. How do we make sure we do that with the right guardrails in place?
So, whatever I've seen of regulation and technology from my limited experience, I see most of the stuff that, earlier players were unable to do, which, let's say, fintechs were able to do, was largely regulatory arbitrage. And technology-wise, at least from an Indian context or whatever, the technology of banks was also fairly evolved. It wasn't like it was backward technology, etc. And I think it's the same with the usage of AI tools. They are available and they can be used, and they're decent people who know how to use them at banks as well. And I think once the regulatory maturity settles in, the difference, the arbitrage between the two does
3
start
minutes,
to close.
Ben.
And it's a
I'll
question
let you know
of
when you
how
have
much
one.
scale fintechs or early techs have picked up by then. So financial services has proven a complex area for sustainable innovation. And thus, I actually believe the partnership model works much better there.
Manu, I looked on your website, and you describe AI as a complement and an enhancer to humanity rather than an antagonist to it. How do you make sure that you live up to that? How do you put that into reality?
Think about this 25 years ago when internet was coming in. A lot of us were kids, right? Internet was coming in, .com boom was happening. And then a lot of skepticism was there at that point of time, whether internet will really help or whether it will end up killing everything. Internet came, enhanced our lives. Of course, there was a dot-com burst in 2001, 2002. But then a lot of real-life use cases got evolved. And then a lot of really good quality internet digital assets got built across the world, in UAE, in US, in China, in India, and across the world, right? I believe something similar will happen in AI, where right now there's a lot of euphoria. Some companies are just riding that wave. But eventually, a lot of real-life use cases will come in where we will see a lot of benefit coming out of it. And that's when AI will become part of anything and everything that we do in our lives. I would go ahead and say it will probably be the single biggest thing that we will see.
Hi, Ben. Can you wrap it up? Thanks.
Like, the biggest thing that we've seen in the last 100 years were like probably steam engine and then like computers and then internet and then smartphones. AI is probably going to be the bigger than all of these combined and a lot more impactful for our lives in the next 10 years.
I want a final thought from Jan before, Amira, I want to end with you about work-life balance. But Jan, quickly, geographically, where do you think this has the biggest potential to be a game changer? Because I'm thinking of things like maybe mobile payments in Africa, utterly leapfrogging, traditional banking. Where will AI make a difference?
Well, as I was listening to Manu, I felt that there was this documentary about AI, right? Terminator or something, but no. To answer your question, I think Africa. I spent quite a bit of time in Africa last 5 years, and I think that continent has a opportunity to leapfrog many of the things which are happening in other parts of the world. So I think Africa should be the focus for investments. And
Amira, a final thought, because I know you're very passionate about work-life balance in all of this. And I'm fascinated that when it comes to AI, we often talk about, how it will revolutionize the way that we work. Maybe we can all work 3-day week or whatever. History tells us we just work more. We do more. We are more productive. How do we make sure that AI helps us work a bit less, maybe?
Look, work less, this is depending in each person. So I cannot say it will make you work less, to be honest. Yeah. Because once there is innovation, as a human being, we are trying to run after this innovation. So it doesn't mean that you will have much more work-life balance. It will be working much more and more to utilize it. So I'm a kind of this person. So it depends everyone. Yes, it can make you work 3 days a week, but in the same time, if you are very passionate about the AI and what we can do from it and learn more and more in order to benefit from it and utilize it, no, it can make you 24/7. So it depends everyone how he will be utilize it and how he's passionate about it.
There's a very famous internet meme saying that I don't want AI to write poetry and letters for me, and I should be doing dishes. I want AI to do dishes for me so that I can write poetry.
Yes, absolutely. This is actually what I want.
Isn't that the truth?
So maybe it will do our home, what's supposed to be done in home, and you will be focused more and more in order to get much more innovative things out of it. The AI is the future, and there is no two ways about it.
Here is hoping. Thank you so much. We've rattled through so many things there, but ladies and gentlemen, please show your appreciation. Thank you. Thank you.